This is a real-time shot application created using pure PHP and MySQL. I didn't use any frontend or backend framework except jquery, which I think is a library, just to reduce the JavaScript syntax. So the project is frameworkless if you want. So along with PHP and MySQL, I used AJAX for sending requests and perform actions without refreshing the page, and some other techniques like long polling, which is used to simulate the real time between users when they exchanging messages. The application contains too many features, including exchanging messages between users asynchronously in form of organized components, a real-time notifier when users chatting, reply to certain message, add friends, accept friendship requests, follow a friend to be able to see his posts and have conversation with him, sharing posts in different forms including textual posts, posts with one image or more, and video posts as well, and too many features like a post, comments, sharing, etc. When you have friends or follow people, you're going to be able to fetch their posts either by checking your timeline or to navigate for certain user to see his posts. The user can also like posts, comment, and share a particular post. There's a profile page where the user could change his personal information and see his own posts, or there is a setting page where the user can change everything in there, including the password, username, cover, etc. Sharding section is implemented using a long polling method, where the user sends a request to the server and tell the server to not close the connection until he gets some new data to that user. When the server gets data from another user to that particular user, it will automatically send it back to that user and close the connection. When that client gets the data or response from the server by automatically seeing it in the screen, the connection will be closed and this user will send a new long polling request again to the server to wait for some new data, and this process will be repeated until the user closes the shut section or when the user closes the application. If you're using a framework, you may use WebSockets, which is better than long polling, but because I'm not using any framework here, I use long polling method to create this real-time channel between users to exchange messages. Basically, we're gonna go through everything in a bit, but first I want to mention some quick notes. So first, this is one of my side projects that I written to apply everything I've learned in PHP and also to challenge myself by creating a short application without any framework, because I like to know how things happen behind the scenes. You may find some misuses or mistakes, like in the way how I implemented the API, the RESTful API, or in the way how I structured the project. But as I said, this project is created just for learning and testing stuff, so you may pick up something useful, and I will very happy to see your feedback or any idea that makes the project much cleaner and useful. The code will be available to anyone, and I will let the link to the code in the description, so if you want to collaborate, the code is available in GitHub so you can make changes and so on. And the last note that I want to mention is that if you're using a framework like Laravel or Symfony, you can grab the project and try to convert it to a framework project, and that will be a challenge that makes you understand framework concepts much better. Now let's have a look at the project. Alright, so the first step you're gonna go through is to download the project, so the link of the project will be in the description. Now you can do so by either download the zip file, or if you have Git installed in your machine, you can grab this link here and open your htdocs folder and open git bash here and run the git clone command, and let's give it the link. And it's very important to name your project chat, because we use this name in our config files, so make sure to name your project like this. Now let's let's clone the project, and now as you can see we have the project here cloned. Now let's wait for the cloning process. Alright, so once this project is cloned, let's open it in our text editor. I used Visual Code here, so let's open the project. Let's go to C, XAMPP, htdocs, and let's open this folder here. Now our project is opened here. Now the second step is to create the database. So to do so, let's first open this database folder and open this chat.sql file. Now this file right here contains all the instructions needed to create all the tables, all the keys, and so on. So before running this script right here, let's create the database by going to PHP my admin. Let's open SQL section and let's create a database. Create database chat. So here also you need to name your database chat, because we use this chat in our connection and in the config file and configurations. So it's important to name your database chat. So let's run this query, and then let's open this database and go to SQL, and then let's grab all these file. Let's copy this and paste it right here, and then let's run all this file, all these queries. So this process could take some time, so let's wait. Alright, so our database is created successfully. Now just to make sure all the tables are created, let's go and refresh this, and you should have 15 tables. So this is all the tables that we used in our project. Some of these tables have some default rows, as you can see here, like post place table and post visibility have 3 records. Now basically our database is ready to be used. Now, so we have the project here, we created the database. Now we have some dependencies, and if you open composer.json, we have some dependencies here, basically just one or two packages. We use Mailgun API to send emails. So in the case of password recovery, we use Mailgun to send a confirmation code, so we use Mailgun for this purpose. Now let's install all these dependencies. Let's open the terminal, and we use composer install, and this command will install all the dependencies inside composer.json. Now we have our dependencies installed successfully. Cool. Now we are ready to use this project, so let's render the project into the browser. Now localhost chat, and here it is. So this is basically the authentication section. If you noticed, if we try to access the index page, the application automatically redirects this user to the login page, and this basically happen inside the index because we have this condition here. So we check if this user is not logged in, we redirect this user to the login page. So you may be wondering from where we take this user. This user is created inside the init file. So this init file will be included into every web page. So this init file is here in core init. We have some configuration credentials, and right here we have this user. Now this condition here is for remember me future. We're going to talk about this later, but for now just you have to know that we use a hash. So the user, when the user check this remember me here, we generate a hash and store it into the database table, which is this table here, user session. Let's open this table, and as you can see we have 3 columns here, which is the ID, the user ID, which is the user who checked this remember me, and this is the hash. So we generate a hash and store it into the database, and at the same time we store it as a cookie into the user machine. So the next time if this user try to log in into our application, we take this cookie inside the user machine and compare it with our record into the database. So if they match, we basically fetch the user here if the cookies are matched. So basically we check if they match by running this query. So we select everything from user, where hash, which is this column here, where this hash is equal to this variable, and this variable is basically the hash stored in the user. So we fetch the user remember me, and we compare it with our database. If they match, which is we have more than one column, we fetch the user and we log in with the username and password. So basically if this is logged in is true, we update that. So we're gonna talk about all of these later, but for now just make sure that this if statement is for remember me. Now we create the user. Now inside our index we check if this user is currently logged in. That's why when we try to access an index page, the application automatically redirects the user to the login page, because the user is not currently logged in. And that makes sense because we don't have any account, any authentication. Now this page contains the sign in, the sign up, and the sign in forms. Now let's create an account, and basically we have some validations here. So if we try to register with this blank input, we're gonna have this error right here, which is username field, which means the first name and last name are optional. Now let's enter some data here. This is my name. Let's use some username, and let's use an email here, and so rotor, and the password. As you may guess, it should be the same. If by accident have different passwords, as you can see we have this password should be the same, a valid password. Now let's register, and as you can see we have this account created successfully. Now let's use this account to log in, but before login we talked about remember me future, but we have this link here which is used to recover your password. Basically we used Mailgun API to fetch or to restore our password. Now to access this page we go to login and password recover. Now we track the send button, which is this send button. When the user click the send button, what happens is that first we check for a CSRF token. So if basically this CSRF token is reside here as a hidden input. So it takes a value of a hash. So this hash is stored in the database. Basically, this is the same concept like to remember me. We store this token in our session and we display it here. So when the user submit the form, we take this input from the form and we compare it with a session into our server with this name, reset password. So if they match, we enter here. So we have a validation class here to validate the email. So we have some rules and some values here. So if this validate passes, we're gonna talk about this later, but for now, if we if the user provide a valid email, we check if this email exists in our database first. If it is, this is the code that send the message or send the confirmation code to recover the password. So as I said before, we use Mailgun here. So you have to go to Mailgun website and create an account to get this key and domain, and to configure this by putting your email or something. So basically what will happen here is we generate a hash, right, using this hash class, which use this function unique to get a unique hash or unique ID. Let's go to hash, and as you can see, we have this self make, which make a hash using a unique ID. So we use this unique ID as a string and we hash it using SHA-256. We use a salt, but as you can see, we don't pass it here. So it will take the default, which is an empty string. So this unique will not use a salt. It just hash this unique ID. Now we generate this hash and we take only 16 character. So we begin from 16 to 16, which means we take only 16, right? Because the hash length is, I think, is 32. So we take 16 characters. We send this extracted hash as a confirmation code and we check it here inside confirmation. So we're gonna go through this later. Now just to demonstrate this, you can restore your password by sending this email right here. Now let's go back and use this account to log in. Now we use the username and the password here, and let's click login. Now we have this index page. Now the first thing I want to talk about is this message. This is a flash message, right? Which means it's appear to the user only once, right? So if we refresh the page, we're not gonna see this message again. So we want this message to be displayed into the user only one time. So if we refresh, we don't see this message anymore. Now the user can also log out by clicking on this button right here and clicking on logout button. And now we are in the login page, as you can see. Now if we try to access the index page, as you can see, we can't, right? So just a quick note, we have this remember me option checked by default. So let's say if the user uncheck this right here and try to log in. Now if this user closes the browser and next time he tries to access the application, let's close the browser and see what will happen. Now let's close this, let's open it again. Now let's access the application. Let's access the index page. As you can see, the application automatically redirect this user to the login page. because this user did not check this remember me. Now let's check this and try it again. Let's log in with the remember me option. Now let's close the browser and reopen it again. Now let's exit the application, and as you can see, now we are able to reach our index page because we use remember me option. Now this is the index page. We have this header right here, which is a fixed header. Just to demonstrate this, let's go to the profile page, and as you can see, this header right here is fixed, right? And because it's fixed, we shift the main section, which include all of these content of this page. We add a margin top, which is 55 pixel. Just to demonstrate this, let's go back to our profile page. Let's remove this header right here, and basically this header, as you can see, has has a 55 pixel. Now let's remove all this header right here, and as you can see, this main section right here, this main section has a margin top of 55 pixel, which is the height of the header. Because the header is fixed, and because of this, we need to add a margin top to the main just to make some place to the header. Now let's refresh and let's go back to our index page. Now this header contains some, this is the logo of our application. This is the search field, and search button is used to search for friends and so on. Now we're gonna cover this later. Now we have also some buttons here, and this is pointing to the profile page. Now we have this friendship requests. So if someone sent a friendship request to this user, we're gonna see this right here. And this is the message, which is the same thing with the messages, and we have this more button. This is pointing to the profile page as well. So this and this has the same functionality. We have this setting page, which we can change the user informations and so on. And of course we have this logout button. This activity log is not working yet, but this is basically just to track the user activities. Now if the user share a post or like a post or something just like that, we need to log this information into some specific file, which could be a text file or something like that. Now this is all about this header right here, and this header basically is included into every page, as you can see, right? So, and we have this left panel right here. So this panel includes some buttons. As you can see, this is the setting page. This is the shot section. As you can see, this is the search, which is used to search for people, and we have some buttons right here. This is pointing to the profile page. This is home, and this right here is just component that is used to demonstrate just a few information about the current contact. And here this contact will include all the friends and followed people. Later when we add friends and followed friends, we're gonna see some components right here. Now let's begin with sharing posts. This component right here is included also into the profile page, as you can see here. So we can share posts from here, from the index page, or we can go to our basically profile and share posts from here. Now let's share a textual post, but before that let's open our PHP my admin just to see the posts created. Now let's go to our database, and as you can see, we don't have any posts right now, so this is 0. Now let's create a post. Now let's say this is my first post, and as you can see, if we have this empty text box, we don't have this post button right here. But when we change this to something, basically a string right here, we see this post right here. And this is also happen when we upload an image. Now when we upload an image, as you can see, we have this post right here. So this post basically is appear when this text box is not empty, or when this file array, because we have a file array that store all the uploaded images. So if we have these two or one of two of these inputs are not empty, we appear this button right here. Now let's create this post, and as you can see, we have this appended post right here. Now let's go back to our database and let's go to posts to refresh, and as you can see, we have a new record right here. Basically this is our post right here, because this is my first post, which is the same as this. Now let's create another post, and just to make sure this post is created, let's go to our profile page, and as you can see, we have this post right here. So this post component contains all the information about the post, which is the post owner, which is this, which in this case the current user right here, and we have the dates where this user shared this post, and we have the post place, which is public. As you can see, we can share a post using this public option, or we can only share this post with friends, or just make it private. Now let's see how to share images. Now we can share images like this. So basically you can include a text right here, or just publish it without any text. Let's add a text. So this is my first wich post. Now let's click on this post, and as you can see, the post, let's refresh here, and we have now a new record which contains all the information about the post. Now as you can see, this post is appended automatically, but what happened is that when we click on this post button right here, there is a CSRF token that is go with all the information included in this post creator, and when the request is successful and the post is saved in our database, we get a response from the server, which is generated post right here. So we use this information that is received from the server to create this component right here, right? So you can see all of this process inside the JavaScript file that is responsible for these actions inside the public folder, and go to JavaScript and posts. Now let's go to our share, basically share post. Now let's go and see what will happen here. Now the first thing, when we click on this share button, when we click on this share button right here, we want to disable this button, because we don't want the user to click twice on this button right here. So we disable it here by attaching this disabled attribute to this share post button, and then we change the value to posting, just to show the user that the post is in the process of posting, and then create post. So this is basically, this line is just to maintain the new lines when we have a post like this. this is a post with new lines. Now when we go to our database, if we just share the post like this, basically next time when we want to fetch this post, we gonna fetch it like this. But we don't want to do that because we want to preserve these new lines. That's why we replace every new line with a BR tag, because next time when we fetch these posts from the database, we fetch it in a form of HTML. Now just to replace these new lines with a BR tag. That's how this line work. Now we append or we overwrite the value of this text area with the new replaced value right here, and then we get all the form data by using this form data, and then we get all the images because we need to append these images, and we're gonna see why we do that, right? Because we can upload more than one image, as you can see. If we do the following, let's upload these 3 files. As you can see, we can upload more than one file. Now we append all the images and all the videos because we can also share videos. Now that's the important part of the application. Now we use this AJAX, and the reason why we use AJAX, because we want, when the user click on this button, we don't want to refresh the page, right? So we send a request to the API post and the post verb. Now let's go to API post and post. That's the file that is responsible to share or to save the post into the database. Now we can't go into every detail because we're gonna have a very long video. So just to have some headlines, if we will, we just save the posts without refreshing the page. As you can see right here, we send a request to this endpoint right here, which is the API post. The method is post, and the data is a form, which is used this ink type because we use an input file. Now we have these informations about the requests, and the data is the form data. Now as you can see, we have this form data that is an instance of this class. So we get the data from this form. So this form basically is right here. Let's go into the code, and as you can see, we have this form, which is create post form, which is the same as this. Now by doing that, by creating an object of this form data, we get all the data, all the inputs inside this form, right? And we append the images manually using this append function, and we get these upload post assets. We get the name and we get the assets from this inputs button. Now we get another request, and now this is the request that we are talking about. Now in the case of success, we remove the disabled because we already shared this post, and we get the old value for this button right here. And as you can see, we generate the last post. That's why we see this generated post automatically. Now we handle the post assets because when we generate this component, some events are not attached with this component, so we need to do that manually by calling these functions. So each of these functions handle some portions of functions. Now let's say this handle post buttons action, which is these buttons right here, which is like button, as you can see, and comments and share button. Now let's have a look at this post right here. Let's post this, and as you can see, we preserve all the new lines along with all these images right here. Now we have this button right here to see the image, each image right here. And if you want to see all the images and the likes, you can click here and you go to this post view page, which you can navigate on the images. Basically we have this bug right here, so we're gonna fix this as soon as I can. So let's go back. Now we have this post right here. Now basically we can share posts, we can share videos. Let's have a try. I have a video in my desktop right here. Let's share this video right here. So this is video post. As you can see, we have this video appended automatically. Now you can play this video, as you can see, and you can like and comment. So this is a comment. Now you can do a lot of things, as you can see. So you can share this post basically and refresh. As you can see, this post is shared, and this is the original post. Now you can edit the post, as you can see. So edit, and let's refresh. As you can see, we have this saved or edited post. Now we can hide this post, as you can see, or restore it, and of course we can delete this post. Now when we delete this post, what will happen to this shared post? Let's see. Now we have this post deleted, so the owner of this post is either delete that post or make it private. Now we can delete posts, so we can like and comments. Now when we refresh, we preserve these comments, as you can see. Now we can edit the comments, delete comments, hide comments. Now these actions are just available to our comments. So if someone else comment on this image, we can't do, for example, edit or delete, right? So we're gonna see that when we add friends and create another account. Now we can like, comment, share, and create posts of different types. Now let's see how to change the user informations. Now let's go here. So we have two places where we can change the user informations, either by clicking on this edit profile to change the first name, last name, biography, or make the account private. So we either change the information from here, or we can go to this setting page, right? So let's go back to see how this works. Now this is basically the default image. Let's change this image, and let's go to images, and let's choose this, and let's change the cover. Let's say this, right? Now we have this cover image, and we have this profile avatar or image. Now let's this is my new account, and let's click save. And as you can see, we have this image right here. Now if we click on it, we get this image and this button right here. Now if we click this, we can basically click on this image right here, or if we click outside of this image, we just close this viewer right here. And we can also edit these to something else. So let's say John. As you can see, it's changed here. Now we can also change all this information from the setting page. Now let's go to the setting. As you can see, this is the username. So there is a lot of overhead, by changing this username, because when we create an account, what will happen is that there is a folder here called data, right? So this data, let's reveal in File Explorer. This data basically store all the information about the users, including images and covers and posts and so on. Now media, covers, and as you can see we have these covers right here, and pictures, right? So we have this picture right here. If we change the picture, let's say we change, we want to change the picture from here. Let's choose this, and let's save. Now as you can see, this is appended right here, right? So basically this data include all the users' informations, including images and posts and so on. Now if we change this username right here, you need to change all this folder, so along with the database record, because we want to change this. So we go to the user info and we have a username portion right here. Now if we change this to something else, what we need to do is to change this folder as well, right? So let's do that. Let's go to our application and let's change this to, let's say, let's add go to new. Now let's save the changes. Now we have this new username or new account. Let's go to our database and refresh, and as you can see we have this new username. Let's go back here, and as you can see we have this new new folder right here, and basically we need to delete this, I think. Yeah, so we delete all of its content and paste it right here. As you can see we have all the data kept here, right? So let's go back, and basically we have some bugs right here, because I don't know the reason why, but I think we need to change this as well in the paths, right? So you can manage this in your application, and if you have, or if you solve this problem, you can send the changes in the repo. So the repo is available to anyone. You can check out the description. Now I think the last part of this application is the shot section. Now let's go to the shot section and see how this works. Now basically to get back this image, let's go to our setting and let's try with the older one. Let's save the change, and as you can see we get our data back. Alright, so for chatting or for messages we need to add people or to add friends. Now to do that we need another account, and for that reason let's open another browser. Let's open. Now let's create a new account. Now let's create let's say code name Hitman at gmail.com, and let's provide some password here. Let's create it, and so Hitman. Alright, so Hitman, and let's provide the password. Now we have this account created. Now let's search for this user here, and let's see how this works basically. Now let's go back to the index page, and let's go here and search for this. that's how the search works. So we search based on first name, last name, or username. So this query based, we search for this input here inside the first name, last name, or the username. So if this is like the username or first name or last name, we show these records right here. Now let's go back here, and as you can see, you can follow this. Now we have 0 followers, as you can see. Now if we follow this guy right here and refresh, as you can see, we have 1 followers now. This guy has 1 follower. Now basically we want to add this one. Now let's send a friend request, and let's go back to this and refresh, and as you can see, we have a new friendship request, which is Hitman sends you a friend request. Now you can either accept or delete the friendship request from here, or you can click on this record and go to his profile and accept from here. Now let's accept from here, and now we have a new friend. So we have these 2 accounts are friends. Now let's refresh to make sure. Now we have friends. Now of course you can unfriend or unfollow from here without refreshing the page. Now because we are friends, now let's go to see how sharding works. Let's go to messages, and as you can see, we have this record right here, and let's open it from here as well. Let's go to messages, and as you can see, we have this. Now this is very important. So how we can know that this guy is connected? Basically this is done using this column right here, which is last active update. Now if we go to our code or console, you may notice that every I think 2 seconds we send a request. Let's show xhr, and basically later we will see a request which is located here. Let's go to our public and JavaScript, and I think in global. Now let's go to basically now updates. No, it's not global. In config, I think. Config, in the config. Now as you can see, we have a function here which is update Activepresence. Now as long as the user is inside the application, we call this function, as you can see, every this amount of time. Now this function basically tell the server that the current user is basically connected, right? So we do that every, I think this is 2 minutes or 3 minutes or something like that. And this file basically updates the current date inside this column right here. So let's go to this file. This file is inside the server. Let's go to the server and update Activepresence. Now this file called this user update active. Let's go to models, let's go to the user, and let's go to update presence. Basically update, so this is update. Now as you can see, we update the user, the current user, and we update this last active update, which is this column right here. And what we will insert is the current date, as you can see here, right? We add this capital A to mention whether we are using AM or PM, right? Now how do we know that this user is active? Now we get the the current date and we compare it with this column right here, this column. If the difference between now and this date is less than 2 minutes, that's an indicator that this user is connected. Now every 2 minutes we send a request to the server to update this column right here. And now if this user, for example, this user closes the browser and 5 minutes passes as an example, we don't have 2 minutes difference between now and the last active date. And let's have this in action. Let's close this, and as you can see we need to wait for this, I think 2 minutes or something. Now just because we are waiting, there is this profile component. We can edit the profile just directly by clicking on this edit, as you can see, and this is opened automatically. We can edit stuff from here. Now let's go back to our chats and messages, and it's still connected. Now basically this is how this works. Now we just active or update this column instantly every, I think this is the number of milliseconds. Yeah, so this is I think 2 minutes or something, and we call this function every 2 minutes, and this is basically interval that is executed every 2 minutes to update the user Activepresence. Let's see if this is still connected, and yeah, it's still connected. Now basically that's how this works. Now we just want to see how the chat section works, and let's update, and it's still connected, and we see it here as well. Now just not to waste time, let's go back and connect again. Now let's see how the chat section work. We open this and we open chat here. Now let's send messages and see how this work. Now let's go here, and as you can see, just notice here we have this indicator that this user is currently writing. Now if we clear this input, this is gone, right? And we're gonna see how this works. Now let's send a message. As you can see, we have this message with all the information about the message. Let's send a longer message. Hey, this is cool, and we get this message. Now if we refresh the page, we have the last message here, right? So, and let's open this again, and we have these discussions, of course, right? This is just basically the same as the message. We fetch the last message of each user, and this is basically the date or the lifetime of this message. Now this button is used to refresh this time, as you can see, and yeah, so that's it. That's how it works. Now let's go back here and let's send a message from here. Now we receive it here, right? So let's go back here. This is works, and I don't know the reason why I fetched 2 messages here, but if I refresh here, as you can see, I don't know what the heck is going on, but let's say we want to reply to certain message. Let's say this is a reply, right? So we get this reply as the following right here. Now let's send a lot of messages just to show you something, right? So let's reply to certain message. Let's reply to this. This is a reply. Now we get it here. Now if we want to reach this message, we just need to click on this message here and we go to this message, right? So as you can see, we go smoothly to this message. Now of course we can delete the message, we can delete this as well, and let's delete this hi, the first message. Now let's refresh, let's select this, and as you can see we have some errors. I don't know the reason why we have this, trying to get message of no objects. Basically that's because we delete a message and we try to access a property of this message. But as I said, you can use this code and fix there is some bugs in this code, but you can try your best and fix all the message, all the errors and so on. Now this is how the chat section works. We have this search which is dynamic, so we search for the current users. So if this name matches the username or first name or last name, we keep these users here. Alright, so we have this, and basically what we can do is, now let's follow this front right here. Let's go back here and let's create, this is a textual post. Let's post this, and as you can see, if we go here and refresh, now we are able to fetch this user posts, right? Now let's post some images. Let's go and post an image right here. Now let's go to the desktop and images. Let's post this. Money. As you can see, we have this image right here. Let's go back here and refresh, and as you can see, we have this image right here. Right, now we can also there is a feature, we can also share more than 4 images, and that's how we gonna see this. Now as you can see, we have 5 images right here, 5 images. Let's post these images right here, and as you can see, we have these 4 images and +1, which means we have more than 4. If we post just 4 images, let's go and post just 4 and post them, we get these 4 images like this. Now we have 5 right now because we have this +1. Let's check this. Now we have all these images, as you can see, right? Now we can also like and comment, so inserted comments, and of course we can share these posts. Now to make sure we do all of these processes, we can go to our profile page, and this is the shared post, and this is the original posts, and as you can see, this is the insert and comments, this is the like, and this is the share, which is this, right? So you can share post with 1 image or 2 or 3, or as you can see, we have 5 here, and we can also have videos, as you may notice here. So let's go here and share this video posts, and of course all these posts from here can be reached by this username, by this user. Let's go to our index, and as you can see, we have all these posts right here. Now there is another thing to mention, that whenever we refresh this page, we get different posts, as you can see, right? And that's because inside our index page we have this shuffle function, which is used to get a random placement of an array or a collection. Now we get all the posts, so we fetch the journal posts, of a current user. So we take a user and fetch all his friends as well as his followed friends, and we fetch all their posts and we get them inside these journal posts, and we shuffle this array, right? So let's have a debug point here. Let's start debugging, and let's go to our index, and let's say what we will get here. Now, as you can see, we have 2 posts right now. Now basically, let's go to this one. Let's go to this one right here. Let's stop this for now, and we have all these posts. Now let's go to and start the debugging. Now let's do this. Now we have all these posts, as you can see. Now we have this post right here. This is my first post. Now remember, this is the first post that we are created, right? But this is not what we will get because we shuffle, as you can see. Now when we shuffle, and let's go here and do all of these processes, and let's go here. This is my first post. Now as you can see, we use this shuffle right here because we don't fetch the same post in each iteration. Now as you can see, we have different posts right now, right? So that's how this project works. Now we can search for posts. Now let's have a try. Now this is followed. We can unfollow this from here, or we use this see more because if we have more than 4 users, we just display 4, and to display all the users we need to click on this see more right here. I just remember to mention some notes. Now if the user wants to change his password, we need to go here to setting, and we go to this account. Now we have an additional informations like metadata. So if we add something here, let's say hobby, and let's say reading something, and we have 5 other possibilities to add these informations here. Now if we change this and we go to our profile, as you can see, we have this information right here, right? This is basically just additional informations. This is the biography, which is edited here. So if we have, now this is new biography info. If we save this and go here, and we can see this saved biography. Now let's say if the user wants to change his password, we can go here to account, and we need to provide the same email of this current user, and this is the current password, and this is the new passwords, right? So this is in case the user wants to change the password. If the user forget the password, we need to log out, and we use this functionalities here. Now as we mentioned before, this is used Mailgun API, so if you want this feature to be working, you can go to Mailgun website and register and get the key and the credentials. Now let's say how the user can change the password. Let's log in. Let's go here to setting, and let's go to the account, and as you can see, we need to provide the current password. Now let's have new password. Let's say for example by accident we have a mistake here. Now the application should track this, or should notice that this is the wrong password, and if we click change, we have this invalid password validation. Now we need to provide the same password. Now this is new password. Now before save these changes, I just want to mention something. if we go to the user info, along with stored password, which is a hashed password, we have this salt. And this is basically just used to add some extra layer of security to the password, because we use hashing system. Sometimes there is some hashes like MD5 that generate the same hash for identical strings. So if we have the same password, if there is two users with the same password and we hash their passwords, we're gonna have the same hash. So if, for example, a hacker or an attacker, guess this hash of this user, it could use this password for this user as well. So we need to make sure that the hash system should not provide the same hash. Now, as we mentioned before, if we go to our class folder and go to the hash, we use SHA-256. Now, if we go and check if this cipher right here generates the same hash for identical passwords, this is SHA-256 produce same password for or the same hash for identical string, something like that. And so I already visit this. Now let's open this, and as you can see, if now, so the answer is yes. So if you hash the same input with the same function, you will always get the same results. Now, to overcome this situation, we use this salt here. So we hash the string along with a salt right here. Right, so how do we generate this salt? We use this function, right? So we use this random bytes, which is a PHP function that generates random bytes of string. Now let's go to setting and see how this works. Now this is the setting page. Now let's go to save change. Now if the user save change, of course we need to make sure the CSRF token matches the CSRF that is exists in our server session with this name. Now if this is work, what we need to do is this is save change for full name, so we don't need all of these. We want to go to the password. Now this is the username. Let's go to the password, and where is the password? This is in setting account. So because this setting is for this page right here. Now let's go to the account and let's see how this works. So this is the same process. We validate the CSRF token. We have this validation to validate the email and passwords, and of course the password should be the same using these matches. So matches will take the input name for this to match. Now if this passed, now what we need to do, so we have a hashed password in our database. So how do we know that this current password match this hash? To do that, what we need to do is take the value that the user enter and hash it using this salt right here. So when we use this salt to hash this password, we're gonna have this hash right here, right? So for that reason, as you can notice, we fetch the salt from this user, which is this, and we fetch the user by email. Now we fetch the salt and we have this password. Now what we need to do is use the current password that the user provide here and use this salt that is fetched from the database to hash the current password. Now we have this password hashed, and we fetch the stored password from the database, which is this one right here. Now we need to compare these two passwords. So we need to compare this hashed password with the password that exists in our database. So if they match, right, so we change the password. If there is some wrong password, provided, we use this save failure message, which is invalid password, and that's why we get this error right here, as you can see, invalid password. Now let's say if the user provide invalid email, as you can see we have this here. Now fetch user, we use this email. If this email is not exist, we have this invalid email, right? Now let's say the user provide the current password which is correct, like this, and this is the new password. Now if we click save change, the passwords will matches, and what we need to do is we need to have the new password from this, which is new password, as you can see. If we go here, let's see the name of this input, and new password, which is used to fetch this from the post. Now this value right here go posted using the name new password. Now we fetch this new password and we assign a new value to this new password by hashing this password with the salt. Now here we use just the old salt, but you can use a new salt right here, so you can change this salt right here, right? Now we hash this password, and basically we update the user with this new password, and we display these changes saved successfully, which is a success message. Let's have a try. Let's go back here and save changes, and as you can see we have these changes saved successfully. Now if we refresh the database, we're gonna have the same salt but a different hash, as you can see. Now we have the same salt but different hash. You can also change this salt from here, but it's your choice. It's up to you to change this salt right here. Now that's it. That's how the user can change his password, and you know, there is a lot of things that I didn't mention, but I think if I see some interest on how these functionalities works, like how to upload files, and there is very important point here to mention, and that is when we upload files inside the front end, we use files in JavaScript which is read-only file. So how do we post these edited files? Because right now I have only one image here, but inside files in JavaScript we have 3 files. So how do we know that we delete this? Now we create a separate array to store all these images first, and then when we delete some of these images, we search in this array and we delete all of these manually, because files used in JavaScript is read-only. So that's all about this project for now. Maybe I will create some new videos explaining each feature here, especially these messages right here. And as you can see, we have this now disconnected because this user is not connected. And if we refresh, as you can see, we have this gray color image. Now if we log in, as you can notice here, let's log in. Now this is the user. Now let's refresh, and as you can see, now we have this green which is connected. Now I think we will see this. Let's go to the console, or the console here. Let's refresh now and get the current user. Now we don't see this update Activepresence, but we'll see this in a few moments. So that's all about the project. So if I see some interests, if you like the project, please send me feedback, or if you want to understand something in this project, just write it down in the comments, and I will try to respond as soon as I can. So that's all about it. So thank you for watching.